These are 5 incredibly common questions I've had from guitar students across the board. Number 1, how do I get my chord changes quicker? My short answer to this is practice what you're working on. So if you're trying to work on going from C to A, then practice C to A. Don't go around the houses and practice loads of different things and then come back and think, oh, I can't do it still. You have to practice what you're working on. A more productive answer to this is land your fingers on your chord at the same time. So for example, if you're playing a C chord, often what we do in the beginning is land our fingers one at a time. 1, 2, 3. So that C chord now is a 3-step chord. So it takes 3 times longer to put your fingers onto that chord. So practice putting all of your fingers onto the chord at the same time. Practice landing all of your fingers onto the chord at the same time. This will help for the very reason that where you're going with a chord progression is ultimately playing through a song. You'll need to be fluent and smooth in your chord changes and be able to do this at different speeds depending on the tempo of the song. So you don't have time then to do chords in stages 1, 2, 3. That will really slow you down. That helps when you're finding your bearings of what a chord shape feels like and where you are on your guitar. But ultimately, you need to change in one fluid movement. If we take a chord progression such as C, A, G, and B7, they are not easy chords to get between. They are big shape changes. We don't really have common fingers, do we? So we have to then see the chords as a shape, moving mid-air into another shape, moving in mid-air to another shape, moving in mid-air to another shape. So see that as fluid shape changes and practice changing a shape rather than staging it per finger. And that will already help you to change chords more smoothly. It will take you time to get your head around it, but ultimately that will make your chord changes much, much quicker. And if you watch anyone who's been playing guitar a long time, that is exactly what they'll be doing. Question number 2, should I practice speed exercises to get my fingers quicker? With guitar playing, we get better at whatever we practice. So if you practice dexterity exercises such as the spider, you will get better at the spider. It will help you to get better at similar things like chromatic scale. It will help you to build coordination between both hands, yes. It will help you to find your spatial awareness between the fret distances and the string distances. So there is an element of what it will help you to do, but it's limited. The best way that I see speed exercises such as this is to use them as a warm-up, use them in a small percentage of your practice time to build some coordination, to warm your fingers up and to learn your guitar in a methodical way. Then start to look at what it is you're trying to work on. So look at your chord changes. If you're trying to learn a riff, you need to practice the riff. So yes, speed exercises can be helpful, but not if you're trying to learn the chord sequence to My Baby Just Cares For Me by Nina Simone, for example. You would need to practice that chord sequence. And if you adapted that chord sequence and made it into some kind of speed exercises using the chords, that would be useful. But yeah, dexterity exercises, it depends what you're trying to practice. Question number 3, should I use a pick? Now the common things I hear in relation to this are, I don't like using a pick, I prefer using my fingers, it feels clunky, it feels awkward, I prefer it when I can touch the strings with my fingers. Yes, all of that is fine, all of that's absolutely fine. So should I use a pick? It depends what you wanted to do in regards to playing guitar. Pick or fingers, it's not really an either or conversation. They both offer completely different things. If you are an absolute beginner, you just want to get stuck in and start playing something, then just play with whatever comes natural, because really there are so many tangents you can go on when you're learning guitar that if you have some kind of inkling of what you're liking and that happens to be playing with your fingers, then play with your fingers. There's plenty you can learn on guitar, playing, fingerstyle, strumming with your fingers. It's an absolutely valid technique to learn and hone. A lot of guitarists only ever play with their fingers. A lot of guitarists only ever play with a pick. So the answer to this question, it fully depends on what you're learning guitar for, but the main thing to be aware of, the pick offers something different to the fingers in the way that it sounds and the styles of music that you can play. So on one end of the spectrum, we have playing with the fingers, which is a bit more mellow sounding, it's a bit softer. We can do finger picking across strings. It gives us a lot more scope because we have 4 different fingers and a thumb to use when we're picking. So it gives us a different sound and it gives us different opportunities. On the other end of the spectrum, we have a pick, which offers a different attack sound on the strings. So it offers the percussive sound on striking the strings. Depending what material the pick is, depending the gauge of the pick, that will sound different too. Depending what kind of strings you're playing on, whether it's nylon, whether it's steel, etc. It will sound slightly different, but it ultimately offers us a percussive sound that we don't get with our fingers. But we have a big middle ground where we can hybrid pick, so we can use a pick and our fingers. We might start a song finger picking or strumming with your thumb, which is a lot more mellow, and as it gets to the chorus or as the song grows in dynamics and intensity, we can bring our pick out and strum and just get a lot more percussive sound in there as well. A bit more volume. A pick generally offers you more volume also. So it's about sound and texture, and they both offer you completely different things. If you're playing guitar for a long time, you can experiment with both and you will see the benefits of both. But if you're drawn to fingers, go with fingers in the beginning. If you're drawn to a pick, go to a pick in the beginning. There's always time to play around with other techniques and tools, which is essentially what a pick is, the longer you're playing. Number 4, should I learn scales? The common things I hear, I don't really know why I'm doing it. What are they for? It seems like something that I should be doing because they're in all the guitar tutorials, but I don't really get it. Do I need to do them? In their most basic form, scales are an excellent way to build coordination, build your spatial awareness and fretboard knowledge, and develop your ear and musicality just by practicing them. If you were to learn the open position scales of C major, A natural minor, E minor pentatonic, and G major pentatonic, that would be a great foundation of scales that would become useful, and you could just practice them as exercises and you would be getting something useful by building them into your practice routine. Going into this in a little bit more detail, if you were to practice a scale going up and down, ascending and descending is what we call that, then you will get better at playing the scale up and down. Now a scale is akin to the alphabet, so this will be like rotely repeating the alphabet. It doesn't teach you how to use the language, but it does teach you what's in the language. So you can start to develop an awareness of what that feels like and how that works on your guitar and hear the differences if you pay attention. But in order to start to speak with the scale and understand what it's actually for, we need to start jumbling it up and putting it into different orders. We can then look into riffs that use the scale. We can look into melodies that use the scale. We can start to understand keys and the sound of keys and become a lot more lyrical in how we use the scale. We need to mess it up, jumble it up, and start to get creative with it in order to do that and see how it works with chords and keys. This then puts your scale in the domain of melody writing, riff writing, improvisation, and you can go down a huge rabbit hole with that and exist in there and really delve into that and enjoy that. Then we can start looking at how the scale works with the chords and the key, get into your circle of fifths, understand how those chords are put together in songwriting, and then get creative. Number 5, should I learn music theory? Music theory is fascinating if you're interested in it. It's a language, it's the language of music, it ties everything together, it will help you no end understand a lot about everything to do with music, especially if you learn the theory in a way that you can apply it to guitar and see how it works. I love music theory, but when I was learning grunge riffs as a teenager, I didn't care about music theory. I just wanted to learn Nirvana songs. Do what you're interested in, because there will be a time when you may become interested in theory. When I got interested in theory, I was mind blown by it, and it's been endlessly useful in so many different ways for songwriting, for seeing patterns in songs, for hearing why 4 chords work for so many thousands and thousands of pop songs, for hearing what 1-4-5 is and how you can hear that in Twist and Shout, and how you can hear that in La Bamba. For example, if you want to go down the music education route, maybe you want to do grades, maybe you're thinking about going to university, maybe you want to be a songwriter, music theory is endlessly useful because it gives you the language that you can share with people that will help you to communicate things much easier. Having said that, there is a big split when it comes down to music theory, because there are lots and lots of professional musicians, professional guitarists, legendary guitarists who don't know a beat of music theory. It depends on the person, and it depends what you think you might want to do with music. You may at a later date get really interested in it. You may be really fascinated in picking apart a song or a riff and thinking, oh, why does that work? But why doesn't this work? I've heard that sound before. Why does it sound really familiar, but it's a different song? My answers to these questions really differ depending who I'm talking to, because depending on your age, your ability, your experience level, your goals, all those things really put a slightly different spin on why something would or wouldn't be relevant to you. And the longer you're on a guitar playing journey, you may become more interested in those things as your brain opens up and you think, I've learned 100 strummy acoustic guitar songs. Now I fancy learning a bit of improvisation. What scales do I need to look at? You may want to go into songwriting. So you may want to improvise, you may want to start doing some grades. It changes and it's different. So check in with those each step of the way. What you're interested in will jump out at you. There'll be something that makes you want to play guitar in the first place, that gets you excited about music, and that's your motivation. So do that, because whatever makes you pick your guitar up to practice, that's what you should learn in the beginning, because that's what will help the practice keep moving when you find it difficult. It will keep you just like burning with that stimulation of wanting to keep going. So start there. Enjoy whatever you choose to practice. Everybody's a bit different. Everybody learns a little bit different. It's music, it's enjoyable, it brings us joy, it gives us expression, it helps us lose ourselves, people like to dance to it. Enjoy yourself and enjoy playing guitar. I'll see you next time.